Hi, I'm Tim Scales, the Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and the Center for Economic Education here at Indiana University East. It's my pleasure to introduce you to another episode of In Your Business. We talk to local entrepreneurs, we learn about their business, we learn about why they started their business, how they started their business, some of the opportunities their businesses has provided them and their community, as well as some of the hurdles they've gone through, some of the challenges. Welcome to another episode of In Your Business. Today we're going to meet an interesting entrepreneur, and I know I say that every time I open a show, but it truly is. Each show is another entrepreneur of interest. So today, instead of having a storefront, having a tangible, we're going to meet with a publisher. A publisher, that tells me that entrepreneurship comes in many ways and many different forms. Here at the university, I'm used to working with business students, but a lot of the entrepreneurs that I mentor don't come from the School of Business. We have entrepreneurs that come from all disciplines, all areas, and are quite successful. And today I'm going to interview with a publisher, and we're going to recognize the success that she's having and the enjoyment she's having in entrepreneurship. Shelley Davis, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Shelley, you come to us from Cambridge City, Indiana, and you're a publisher,
Yes.
you're an author, and
Yes.
you work with authors.
Yes.
So we're going to get to know about your business, but prior to that, we're going to get to know you. So why don't you share just a little bit about your background, where you might have grown up, and what your aspirations were as a child?
I actually grew up in Dublin, Indiana, small town. I loved going to the library there when I was a child and getting books and bringing them back home to my home, sitting on the porch and reading.
Okay.
I could lose myself in a story. I enjoyed that a lot. And then I went to Lincoln High School, graduated from there, got married about 2 years later, and we have one son, Patrick, and 4 grandchildren.
Okay.
And my husband and I have been married 45 years this April.
Well, excellent. So basically you were born and raised in the area of Cambridge City, Dublin, outside of Cambridge City, Indiana.
Yes.
You've always liked books.
Yes.
You're a reader. You enjoy reading books.
I haven't had much time to read. Since I've been doing this, I haven't had much time myself to read.
Right.
But I enjoy reading all my authors' books that I have.
Okay. But growing up, you enjoyed reading?
Yes, very much so.
So when you were in high school, what was that dream? What was that ambition? What did you want to do after you graduated?
One of my dreams was to be an art teacher someday, because I loved art. But after we got married when we were 18, and my husband got drafted and went off to National Guard. So I've had various jobs through my lifetime.
Okay.
And this is one that's, everybody says now, I think you found your niche. I sold Tupperware for 18 years while our son grew up. And I was an executive manager with that company.
Okay.
For the last 4 years I was in business, so it taught me how to set goals and to talk to people, and because I used to be really shy. I don't know if you could tell that or not.
No, not at all.
This has really helped me be able to do more and exciting things.
Okay, so let's dive right into the business, okay? Because I can tell you're passionate about it, and that's what you love to do. So you started your business when?
In 2010.
So in 2010, you had been in the Tupperware business for 18 years, and you call that quits and go into this business?
No, I called it quits on Tupperware in 1994.
Oh, okay.
And then I worked for my cousin in a home improvement store for 4 years while I took care of my parents.
Okay.
And then I started my photography business in 2003, so I could have my own hours and be able to take my parents to doctors and things like that. That kind of led me on the path to, I was matting and framing pictures and carrying those to festivals and selling artwork. I had some ladies down the road from me that had a little farm, and they had adopted this little donkey. So while I was doing photography, I went down and said, do you mind if I take some pictures of your animals on the farm? And no, we can, that'd be great. Their name is Tracy and Nancy, and I went down and took pictures of Will. Then I got to thinking, that might be a cute story, not knowing whether I could write one or not. But I have a friend, Mary Jo Sloniker, and she took me after, she said, Shelley, you can do anything. And I wrote the story about Will. About 2 weeks after my dad passed away, I laid out all my pictures, and I just started rhyming up this story. And it just flowed out of me, but I didn't tell anybody I was doing it.
Okay.
I kept it a secret. I went to Mary Jo Sloaniker's publisher in southern part of Indiana, and the gentleman, said so much of a cost to do that. And I did my book in December of '07, but didn't get it back in my hands until July of '08. And it was really hard to keep it a secret, but I didn't even tell my husband.
Wow.
Yeah. My grandkids were there the day that my galley, they call it a galley when you get a proof book back, was at the back door. And I had to tell fibs to a lot of my friends and family because I go to the library and get things copied. And oh, Shelley, are you writing a story? It's like, no, this is my granddaughter's school project. Go to the post office to mail things, and the postmaster said, oh, Shelley, are you writing a story? No. But it was really hard to keep it a secret, but I wanted to do that till I actually had it in my hand.
Sure, sure.
After I got it in my hand and I saw it, I just cried like a baby. My husband, I handed it to him. He really didn't click, I don't think, with him what it actually was till I started being out with friends and family and saying, I wrote a story, I've got a book. And it went really well. And so one of my friends said, oh, Roger, aren't you excited about Shelley being a publisher? And he goes, oh, I'm so proud of everything that she does,
Sure.
So
sure.
you become kind of a celebrity after someone knows that you have a published book.
Okay.
And everybody said, well, what are you going to do next? So the next book I wrote was called The Mule on a Stool. And I couldn't find a mule to sit on a stool, so I had to draw the pictures myself.
Okay.
So now I'm getting to be a kid again, and that's why I call my business Kids at Heart Publishing.
Okay. So Kids at Heart Publishing. Mm-hmm. Okay. Your first book was 2009.
2007.
2007. That's when you were the author. Okay.
Of Will's New Family. Mm-hmm.
Will's New Family was the name of the book. Okay.
And I have a friend, Betsy Morphew, and she knew how to do all set up, layout, and everything. And I'm all the time saying, oh, Lord, what can I do to help people and have fun while I do it? I was at a festival with my books, and Betsy has her artwork. I had a lady come through the booth, and she said, do you illustrate for other folks? And I said, sure we do. Didn't get her name and number, but on the way home, this little idea popped in my head. I called Betsy back, and I said, hey, if I would start my own publishing company, because I was a little disgruntled with the publishing company that I had, having so many people saying, I've written a book, what do I do? And I was in search myself of another publisher. So I called Betsy and I said, if I start my own company, will you help me? And she goes, oh, I guess. And that was 6 years ago.
Okay.
Our first author that we came up with was Mr. Callahan, Odell Callahan. He was a retired teacher and principal from Laurel, Franklin County. So he was our very first author. And
so now Betsy's still with you 6 years
Betsy's
later,
still
right?
with me.
So it's you and Betsy now, and you're doing the publishing. Betsy's doing.
She's my graphic design artist.
She's the graphic design artist that helps you with the illustrations of it, and then you have an editor as well.
Yes.
Okay, and so basically a person then can write something, and you will help them publish it, and that's how you acquired all these authors. And
most of my business is just word of mouth.
Okay.
I haven't done a lot of advertising. Since it's just Betsy and I, when we finish up with one author, there's a process to it. Everybody thinks, okay, I can give you my story and I'll have it next week. And that's not how it works.
Okay, how does it work?
Usually an author will bring me a story.
Okay.
And if they want illustrations, we sit down and we break the story down to where, this is a good paragraph, a picture might be good with this. So I break everything down, and then we get it edited. Most of my authors have their own editor, or some of my authors will also do their own artwork.
Okay.
If they don't, then I find someone that can. And it takes maybe on an average 3 to 6 months before they have their books in their hands, but it depends on how busy we are.
Sure.
I like to work one-on-one with my authors and give them personal attention, because to me they're the stars. I enjoy a lot to just hand my authors their finished proof book. I've had some of my authors cry, and I've had them, which one of my new authors, Denise Honecker, I thought that I was going to have to tie her down. She was just like wanting to float away, and it was so neat. And she said, Shelley, don't you have fun helping people's dreams come true. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is having fun helping people.
Great, great. So you have a business that you're very passionate about, something that you've really dreamed about since you were a young girl, and now you're helping other authors acquire their dreams, and that's fascinating. So you've made a business out of that,
Yes.
and that is your publishing business.
Yes.
And you've been doing that since 2010. And how many authors are you working with?
I think we have around 30. I've signed 4 new authors, almost 6 new authors just this year.
Okay.
They were brand new people I'd never met before. A lot of my other authors that have been with me for 5 to 6 years, Mr. Callahan's just published his 6th book this year with me. And then we published over 50 titles.
Okay. So share with us what that means. When an individual comes to you, says, okay, I'm the author of this, here's my material, this is what I've written, you bring in some illustration, you help them bind it, you get them published, an ISBN number is assigned to that. Beyond that, then, do you help them with the marketing of their book? How does that work?
Yes. Usually I will carry all my authors' books with me when I go set up at festivals, if I can, and a lot of my authors are now very good friends, and I have one here in Richmond, Eva Reese, and she will say, if I need her, I'll say, Eva, I'm going to a festival, would you like to go with me and help me? And a lot of my authors, they enjoy that. So and a lot of my authors had never sold anything in their life. And I always tease them that if you're in this to make $1 million, it might come down the road someday. I can't tell you how many books you're going to sell, and we never know who we're going to meet along the way. So tell them it's really just planting seeds, because Denise, I'd met her 6 years ago, and now she's just now starting to publish with me. So we take the author from the point of having their story, then we'll get illustrations done. That might take a little bit longer to do that.
Okay.
We're a full publishing house, so I do the ISBN number, the barcode, Library of Congress, and the copyrights. Once the book is printed, I send 2 copies to the Copyright Office here in the United States in Washington, D.C., and then I send 1 copy to the Library of Congress. And that's pretty very exciting for some of my authors to say, oh, you mean my book's in the Library of Congress?
Sure.
One of my authors said, you talk to the people in the Library of Congress? I said, sure I do. I call those girls down there and say, this is what I'm doing, and they help me.
Sure.
They help me.
Sure.
That was one of my highlights when I started my company, was to contact them and ask them, would they take my company on to do library control numbers. That was very exciting. A lot of the kids, the only way they can reference that is if they watch that movie called National Treasure, where they go to the Library of Congress, Nicolas Cage, they go there.
Okay.
They get excited about that. I love going to schools and talking to the kids about the books and things. So we first will make the author a proof book from us. And it won't be anything real fancy, but we'll print it out.
Okay.
And we'll put a little cover on it, and we say, this is the book that you want to go over really well to make sure that everything's the way you want it. And it might take them a week or so by the time they pass it around to other friends to let them look at it. When you're working on your book yourself, you're too close to it, and it's good to have other eyes to look at it. Then they give me back the proof book. We make the changes if they need it. Then I'll decide, well, is it a hardcover or soft cover? Which company am I going to use for this author to do the printing?
Okay.
There's one company here in Indiana that does hardcover really reasonable, and I'm excited to do business with Indiana company. I have one company in Tennessee that I do a lot of the soft cover books with, and they do full distribution. So we decide which way the author wants to go. Do they just want a few for their friends and family, which we've had that happen, or do they want to go retail and try to sell books? So we take care of all that for them too. Then they will get another proof book back from the printing company before we place an actual order. And then they go through that book really well. And then if it's okay to go, then we place the order for 50, 100, or whatever that they want.
Okay.
I try to at least encourage my authors to get at least 100 books to start out with, because they go really fast.
So that's going to be my next question. So what do people start with? I mean, do they start with 100 books, 500 books? Is there a minimum requirement?
No, there's no minimum. It just depends on their marketing, what they're going to do. My first author last year that ordered 500 books, and I said, was Jane Jordan. And she did the Christmas stocking book. And I said, Jane, are you sure you want 500 books? And yes, I do. Okay, that's great. Because I usually say get at least 100.
Mm-hmm.
Jane went with me to the printing office to pick up the books. She rode along with me. It was a 3-hour drive. She was so excited. We went through the whole process. She did Facebook pictures, picking up my books and posting it to the friends and things. And so it takes maybe, the hardcover books takes about 3 weeks to get back.
Sure.
Soft covers takes anywhere from 7 to 10 days to get back.
So when she had 500 books, was she overwhelmed when she seen 500 books? Or was she excited and said, oh, I need more?
Well, we ended up ordering more
That's
later
awesome.
on. Later on we did. She took those books because she knows a lot of people. Her artist, Brenda Kunkel, did the illustrations, and she helped her sell some to her family and friends. I was amazed, and I've had 2 other authors since then order 500 books. I met a gentleman this weekend in Kentucky that told me he had ordered 6,000 books when he did his first book.
Wow.
He's talking to me now about publishing, but that was kind of a lot, I thought. But we loaded all the books into the car and took my van, and we had about 6 cases of books for those 500, maybe 8 cases and boxes. And the only thing my friend at the printing office says, Shelley, your van looks like it's sitting very low. So she hoped it got us home okay, but we did.
Okay.
We did, and it was really exciting.
So if I'm understanding it, and I think I am, you're there to help them all the way through. And so you're actually creating entrepreneurs and through publishing and allowing authors to become entrepreneurs because you're helping them publish their book, you're helping them market their book, they're bringing it to the market, they're selling their book, they're ordering more books, and this whole process, it's exciting, and I'm sure you put a lot of smiles on faces. You brought some examples, some stories, and so tell me what they are.
Okay. Well, I have several authors here in Richmond, so I brought some of those with us. If we're doing a children's book, this is Treasure at Glen Miller Park. This is Denise's book. If we're doing a book like this, we put our little kids logo on the back.
Okay.
And this is actually myself and our very first author, Odell, and then that's my friend Betsy.
Okay.
So we put our little kids on the back. If we do a novel, which we've done poetry, novels, mysteries, this is a murder mystery, we have a KAH heart that we put on the back for the older readers' books.
So you can identify what the level of reading is.
Right.
Okay. And do you help the author with that? So if an author says to you, here it is, and you can read it and say, this is kind of a 3rd to 5th grade level, or this is a 11th, 12th grade level, or an adult level.
Right. We kind of determine what age level. When we send these in and fill out the information about the book, then we have to tell, is it juvenile, is it children's, is it for adults, and so we fill out all of that to do full distribution through Barnes Noble, Amazon, and all of that. I always tell my authors don't get really excited about Barnes Noble, Amazon, because the author gets about this much money. Okay.
But you get your books in there.
Yes, we get our books in there online.
Some people, that's going to be exciting to be able to get their book, into one of the majors.
Yes, it is.
So.
And I also list all of our books on our website, kidsatheartpublishing.com. They can go there and see their books too.
Okay.
These are just some of our children's books. These are the first 4 new ones that we did this year.
Okay.
And this one is Can You Imagine?
Shelley, I feel like you're a promoter. You really help these authors.
I try. This is my friend Betsy's little Chuck book. She did all the illustrations, and she did the illustrations for that book.
Okay. This is nice. This is like a full color. This is very nice.
I try to encourage, when I go to schools to talk, I try to really encourage the kids to read, draw, and write.
Kind of a lost art almost, to actually physically pick up a book and read it.
I feel like there's too much of, the digital things that they have nowadays. And the little ones, and I go talk to preschool or the kindergartners, I always ask, how many of you love to read or have be read to? And one little kid said, I can't read yet. And I said, well, that's okay. You know, you like someone else to read to you.
But I like what you're doing, because this really makes it happen for the students, for the children, because just like the book here about the squirrels in the Glen Miller Park, I mean, elementary schools can have them read that and then actually take a field trip maybe to the park.
Yes.
So they can actually relate and connect the book to what's going on. And if we have more authors doing that, I mean, I think that can be a phenomenal teaching tool.
Yes, we have Birth of an Angel is a novel by Mr. Callahan. So this is a 6x9. There's several different sizes that you can choose from. And we try to format the book the right size for your story.
Okay.
And this is an 8.5 8.5. This is done by a little kindergartner in Muncie. The shot heard around the town, and it's about gun violence.
Okay. So when you started this business in 2010, what was your plan? What were you thinking?
Sometimes you have a great idea and you sleep on it, and then you think, oh, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
This was an idea that I had, and I slept on it. I had no clue where it was going to lead me or what kind of path I was going to go down. It's been fun. It's something that's not always, you know, it's a business too. So there's things that goes on sometimes along the way, but it's mostly very rewarding and fun when I see the authors with their books.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And working side by side with those authors, and I mean, I'm sure they hold the same passion for their book as you hold for publishing their books.
Right.
So I think that's just incredible.
Sometimes I get more excited than they are. I'll say, you know, you're going to be a published author. Aren't you excited? You know, we are a self-publishing company. A lot of folks can go online and do through different various places. And I always tell everybody, why go with the big guys when you have the little girls down the road with we have a big heart. You know, we try to care about people. So some publishers, they just want your credit card number.
Sure,
and your name.
But the fact that you go with them and you take them to pick up the books and you go with them to do book signings and you drive 3 hours for a book signing, I think that says something for your business and the passion. And you know, as you manage your business and you have to do things that I teach here, and the fact that you probably have employees. How many employees do you have?
No, there's just Betsy and I.
So the two of you, that's 2 employees. And so you have to manage your time and your hours. Do you do this by appointment?
Yes.
And then pricing. You know, you have to determine and set pricing.
We try to help the authors on the pricing. We'll set their book if they're going to be online. We try to set the price up higher.
Okay.
So if they have online sales, they'll make more royalty.
Okay. When we say online, are we speaking that they can actually read the book online,
no.
or meaning that they'll order it and bring it hard copy to them?
Hard copy, right.
Okay.
Right.
Are any of your books now being available through online?
Yes, you can go to Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and see a lot of our books, but I always encourage, if you know the author, to purchase directly from the author and get a signed copy. Like I say, because the online sales, some of the authors don't make a lot of money on that. The distributor and the retailer makes most.
But are people able to download it to Kindle and such and be able to read it online?
No. I haven't encouraged my authors to do that yet.
Okay.
There is so much behind the publishing world that just the everyday person does not know about. I'm getting very educated about things, doing this along the way. Sometimes, and I watched a program about a month ago on CNN about authors, and they had the American President of the Authors Guild on there. A lot of the books that people download today, they have no idea that some of the books are pirated.
Okay.
Plus, it may say download for free and you could get a virus. So there's a lot of things that goes behind the scenes. And I try not to bog my authors down a lot with all those other things because I want them to be excited and do things. But when I'm out speaking to groups, you know, kind of educate them a little bit about different things going on in the publishing and writing world, try to educate a little bit better. All my authors to me are my kids.
Okay.
And I try to protect them all that I can.
And I get that. I understand that. I got to ask you though. I get the feeling, as passionate as you are about it, as excited as you are, you may not be counting your hours, but how many hours a week do you think you're putting into being an entrepreneur?
Well, if my mom always says, you're not making enough money for everything that you do. If I had to count my hours, nobody could afford me. But I put a lot of hours in.
Okay.
By the time I have a little office in Cambridge City that folks can come there and meet me, and we talk about their book there. And then I have a little bookstore that I show everything. I would have no idea how many hours I spend
That's
a
good.
week.
That's a good answer, though, because that means you thoroughly enjoy what you're doing, you're passionate about it, and you're working well. Is there any other book that you want to spotlight? We're just about ready to conclude.
Oh, well, I have a whole bunch of books. I wanted to show you, we have a little catalog, and we're
Okay.
getting ready to update this, but I put all my authors' books in a little catalog. And one of my favorite books that I've done myself, because I've done 12, this is my latest book, Taking Your Pet to the Vet.
Okay.
And this is about Dr. Woodward that's just down the road here, and I went to his office and took pictures of animals that he took care of, and we put a book to honor him for all of his hard work. So that one has my photography in it, and then this one is Maddie the Mule Goes to School.
Okay.
This one is about the kids today having too many electronics, and with me having 4 grandchildren, I put my family and friends now as characters in my book, and I will have friends say, can I be in your next book?
Oh,
They don't pay me yet, but
sure.
this is about Maddie going to school to see what the kids are doing. And she's very disappointed when she gets there because she sees the kids all have computers on their desk and there's no books on the shelf. And it all rhymes up.
Okay.
She beats the bus to school, hides behind a tree big enough to hide a mule, and then she looks inside the windows.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Shelley, we're going to have to conclude, but I can't say thank you enough for everything you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
I think it's wonderful.
Thank you for having me.
This concludes another episode of In Your Business. Today we brought a publisher and an author together as one. And Shelley Davis of Cambridge City, she's running a business that's not selfish at all. A lot of times we think of business, we think about, greed, if you will, and we think about, private sector. But Shelley is running her business where her biggest passion is not only what she does, but helping others do the same thing. So if you've ever thought about writing, you want to get published, I think she's the type of person that you want to sit down with and maybe let her mentor you and bring it to the market. What she's doing to help education is amazing. These children can connect the stories they're reading with the communities they're living within. So again, I think we've learned a great deal from a local entrepreneur today, and I can't say thank you enough. Continue to watch In Your Business.